If you've ever stood outside on a clear night, far from city lights, and really looked up, you know the feeling. The sky doesn't just look big, it feels authoritative. It feels ancient, ordered, reliable. Today I want to talk about why ancient civilizations became obsessed with the stars, why they worshiped them, and how in the middle of a world captivated by the heavens, God revealed something far greater. Not just what made the universe, but who. And why that revelation didn't come through a star, a planet, or a cosmic sign, but through a people, a word, and ultimately a man. Because when you look at history closely, one thing becomes very clear. They watched the heavens carefully, but they missed the one who made them. Ancient civilizations were not ignorant people. In fact, they were incredibly disciplined observers of the natural world, especially the sky. The stars were their calendar, the moon marked their months, the sun governed their seasons, the wandering planets fascinated them. They noticed patterns, cycles, movements that never seemed random. And when you live in a chaotic world where floods, famines, wars, and disease feel unpredictable, the sky becomes comforting. Because the sky is steady. So ancient people concluded something that almost makes sense. If anything rules our world, it must be whatever rules the heavens. That's how astronomy became theology. The planets weren't just lights, they were gods. Saturn became fate, Jupiter became kingship, Mars became war, Venus became fertility. And the men who studied the stars weren't scientists, they were priests. Kings waited on their interpretations, empires timed wars by their charts. Entire civilizations shaped their lives around what they believed the heavens were saying. They worshiped creation because creation felt powerful. But here's the irony. They saw order, but not the creator of the order. They saw design, but not the designer. And into that world, absolutely saturated with starship, God speaks. Not through an eclipse, not through a planetary alignment, not through a constellation, but through words. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, we hear. That's what Genesis says. That sentence alone dismantles every ancient worldview. The heavens are not divine, they are created. They don't rule history, they serve the one who does. And then God does something even more unexpected. Instead of revealing himself through the sky, he chooses to reveal himself through a nation. Not Babylon or Egypt or not even Rome. Israel. Little old Israel. A small, stubborn, unimpressive people, chosen not because of their greatness, but because God wanted the world to know him personally. Every other culture looked up to find meaning. Israel was taught to listen. God gave them his law, his promises, his covenant, his presence. And while the nations searched the stars for fate, Israel learned that history moves not by planets, but by the will of God. And then the Creator steps into his creation. The same God who hung Saturn in the sky enters the world not as a cosmic force, but as a child, born into the very nation he chose to reveal himself through. No longer distant, no longer hidden behind the heavens, God with us. And that message, this idea that the creator of the universe took on flesh, did something no star god ever could. It conquered Rome, the most powerful pagan empire in history, built on astrology, filled with planetary gods governed by omens and signs. It was undone by a crucified carpenter. Temples to Saturn fell, altars to Jupiter emptied, the gods of the sky faded. Not because Christianity had better astronomy, but because it had better truth. And here's where this still matters. We don't bow to planets anymore, but we still worship the creation, the universe, nature, science, self. We still look up for answers and ignore the one who speaks. The heavens declare the glory of God, but they don't explain him. Only his word does. And that's why the Christian worldview still makes sense. Because it doesn't ask you to worship what you can see. It invites you to know the one who made it all. If this episode helped you see the world or even the night sky a little differently, don't keep it to yourself. Like the episode, share it with someone who loves big questions. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a comment or review. It really does help others find the show. And if you want to keep thinking through these ideas beyond the podcast, You can find my written work on Substack. Just search dannytippett.substack.com. Tippett spelled Tippit. Same backwards as forwards. Yes, it's a palindrome. And subscribe to stay up to date on new articles and reflections. This is It Makes Sense, where we explore how the Christian worldview really does make the most sense of life and the universe. Until next time, don't just admire the creation, seek the Creator. Thanks for listening, and God bless.